right, welcome to episode 2 of Always On Conversations on Church and Media, and just the intersection between, those two things, church and media. Especially in this season, we've talked about how COVID-19 has just affected churches and pushed us to embrace stuff we had never done before, which is embrace the digital space. So we're having conversations about that. My boy, Richard Njau, foremost digital enabler, we're having the conversation with him. Now, in episode 1, we talked a little bit about this thing for digital reflection versus digital exclusive content. Now, those are big words. Just break it down for us. What's one and what's the other?
Okay, digital reflection is like looking at a mirror. So it is whatever is happening offline.
Yeah.
So what used to happen every Sunday, you take that and you put it online for people, an audience who are not in that venue.
Yeah.
Hence why we say it's reflecting.
So reflection, for instance, is saying our Sunday service runs like this. We'll put a camera, we'll catch the service and reflect it on the online space.
So that people who are not physically in the venue,
Yeah.
but in the online space,
Yeah.
can also engage with that content.
Yeah, but you talked about now this is
Digital
exclusive content. Execution, yes.
DEE.
DEE.
So DEE is the assumption that you don't have that Sunday service.
Yeah.
It is having a mentality of doing it for digital. A perfect example is this, what we are doing right now.
Yeah.
We are, this conversation, we are packaging,
Exclusively.
we are doing it for the digital platform.
Yeah.
So this is an example of digital exclusive execution.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's assuming, for instance, if a church was never able to have a service ever again, maybe some communist regime came and shut down all the churches and said, you guys shoot a church from your house. So how will you create something which is a digital experience?
Yes.
Is what that is.
Exactly.
Now for me that's been interesting, even the thinking about that as we've talked, because one of the things that we've talked about is this formats.
Yes.
So every church has gone online with their service, and your church format is pretty predictable. You know what it is. You come in, there's a bit of a welcome, we do maybe a half-hour worship set, we do maybe 10-15 minutes of announcements and what's going on. We go to the sermon, we do the sermon, maybe some sort of benediction or some sort of song at the end. That's what the format is.
Yes.
And what's happening, at least what I'm seeing, is digital reflection, where that format is being reflected on the online space. What's your thought about that generally?
Man, Kuria, you are so right. So the reason why people do that format is because of their research and understanding. They realized this is what works offline.
Yeah.
When people come into the building, we need to sort of instill hope in them, put some energy in them. So let's start with music, which is what you are calling the worship set.
Yeah.
And then let them sit down, and we can't just go straight into the sermon.
Absolutely.
Let's give them some
Transition
announcement.
them.
Let's let them know about what's happening, this and the other, and then let's
Build community.
Now that works perfectly offline. And if you look worldwide, that's what a lot of churches do. But let me be honest, that doesn't work perfectly, necessarily work for the online space. I'll give a perfect example. I watch Transformation Nation from America. I was watching it every Sunday before COVID. I'm still watching it. But all I'm interested in is the sermon.
Yeah.
So when I go on, I'm not interested to watch their worship. I'm interested in getting Michael Todd's message.
You want to hear what he has
and
to
I
say.
get that. So there's that. When going online and doing a digital exclusive execution, we have to begin questioning our format. Kuria, one of the churches that I've seen take this live bands offline and remodel it online is Rebecca Dawn. What
Nairobi Lighthouse.
Nairobi Lighthouse.
Nairobi Lighthouse Church.
Man, I got lost into their worship. They're singers and they're also instrumentals. So there are only 3 people. 2 guitarists, one on bass, one on guitar, and Rebecca Dawn playing and singing. Absolutely lovely.
The other church that I've seen, by the way, is ICC, and I have to commend them as well, because ICC have created, it really feels like a digital set is what they have created, and I think they have actually done a very good job with it. I'll tell you what I think is maybe deceiving us a little bit, is that we watch TD Jakes, we watch, whoever it is that you watch, Andy Stanley, Transformation, whoever it is that you watch, Joel Austin, if that's what you watch. What we don't realize is that we are in a live event. that they're reflecting their live event. And what we are doing now is we are reflecting nothing, because there's no live event.
There's no live event.
So right now we are creating, we are just using the same format, and it's very interesting. We were talking about it earlier about how some of the churches, you'll actually see there's nobody in church. The camera will pan and there's no one, and you wonder, so why are you talking to an empty hall?
And you see, seeing a pastor pretend to talk to an empty hall even confuses us.
It is,
you know what I mean? It confuses us,
and
emotional connection is so huge of digital. If you're not emotionally connecting,
you know who else is JCC?
Yes,
JCC Parklands as well for me have been interesting, because for them, with their pastor, with Bishop Alan, what they do is that they have one camera, I think it's in his house, directly in front of him, and he connects with me, he speaks with me, as opposed to this huge 3-4 camera production.
Kuria, you are so right. And in fact, I really like what you've said here, because it brings in another point. A lot of the reasons why some churches have never started digital is because they thought, for me to start digital, I need 7 cameras, I need lighting, I need a makeup person. Let me just say this. Sometimes start with what you have. And what you may have...
I thought I was just about to say that, maybe your gadget.
So you may not be, because of this, you may not be able to do worship, or you will do worship a cappella. You know what I mean? This element of monkey see, monkey do. So I'm seeing this how DJs do, or I'm seeing this how it's done on TV, and you're trying to copy that. But just start where you are at, and start with what you have.
You know, Richie, and in episode 1, we talked about how at 1,000 watts, we've been doing this thing over the past 5 weeks, so we've been tracking 12 different churches just to see what their engagement is like. And you can actually get that report on 1000watts.com. But what's been interesting for me as I've tracked the live stream is, and I want us to talk about numbers in a bit, but tracking the live stream, one of the things you notice is that your numbers always peak at your sermon. They always peak at your sermon. So your numbers are always the smallest as the stream grows. And once your sermon starts, your numbers peak and generally remain pretty steady within your sermon, which for me is interesting, and it tells me something. It tells me, what are people engaging with? What are people engaging, and what are they looking forward to engaging with? So I may, in the offline space, have the luxury, because I have a captive audience, of doing a half-hour set. And you know, when I have a captive audience, someone can just sit and think, let me wait for this thing to finish. On the online space, there's no sitting and waiting.
We are Philippines.
I click a button and I'm in a different church.
We teleport.
Immediately. But I tell guys, this has been the easiest church hopping season of all time. And that if churches are not thinking about how am I engaging people, how am I making sure that I have their attention for this thing. So when we talk about format, one of the things is you have to figure out how do you recreate your format so that it's engaging. You're not losing any of the core things about your church, about your church experience, but how are you making sure that you are maximizing your digital experience?
Content is basically your vision packaged into video. So content is you have to understand what is it, why are people coming to tune into this live stream? This is why they're coming. Is it in line with my vision? Let me give it to them.
Absolutely.
If it is in line, you can shed off, and that's the thing. But
it's so hard.
We are so stuck. I mean, we're like no. But then if I don't do worship, who said you have to do worship?
Absolutely.
Or let me say, who said you have to start with worship on the digital segment? Who said you have to give announcements on Sunday? You know what I mean? And let me say, this is a time to experiment. We're not here as expertise telling you this or the other. What you do is, again, the beauty of the digital space is what you're doing. Your report is numbers. It's saying this guys, this is what is this is the data. On YouTube, you can actually go and see at this point, at this point of the video, at 2 minutes and 24 seconds, 8 people dropped off. And you can go back and look, what is it that I said?
Exactly.
And then maybe you said, today I will be talking about finances, and you see the drop off because people necessarily weren't coming to consume that content.
And I think, Richie, the thing is, with church you have to be careful, because the thing is not to say that we're just giving people what they want.
Exactly.
But if we say finances and they drop off, we stop talking about finances. But I think it's to be able to have a sense of wisdom, to know then how do I have this conversation that's a critical conversation without losing people. So we're not saying that you're just giving them the fluff.
In fact,
You package everything that you feel this is what God wants people to have. But now the beauty of digital, and we are saying this, is in the offline space, if someone switches off during your sermon, you'll never know, because they are sitting there, they are looking at you, but their mind is elsewhere. On the digital space, that doesn't happen. Once someone switches off, they are gone.
They're off.
And you've completely lost them. I want to
Let me just throw in something there. If there's ever a time to take feedback,
absolutely.
it is now. You're able to,
And it's instant.
people are commenting as the video is going on. People are telling you what they like, what they don't like. Sometimes no engagement is a sign.
I know.
Is a sign of there's something wrong with my content. And again, remember, it always starts from the vision. That's what I'm saying. It's not giving people what they want. Is what they want aligned to the vision.
Absolutely.
You know, people may be coming on a Sunday and what they want is fashion tips.
But that's not your vision.
That's not your
what
vision.
God has called you to do.
Exactly. It doesn't mean that you're going to now create content about fashion tips just to feed them. No. Your vision is very important.
One of the other things I think about this whole digital reflection thing is that, and we talked about it earlier, we have service at 10 o'clock, right? And it's been so cookie cutter because everyone's service is now 10 o'clock, or most people's services are 10 o'clock. But the interesting thing with digital is this whole thing that I don't have to have a service at 10 o'clock, 1. 2, I don't have to have one service. One of the churches that for me has been impressive, and we've mentioned them already, is ICC. Because ICC have multiple services. And the interesting thing about multiple services is when you're stuck on 10 o'clock, what you don't realize is the outreach opportunity that you have. And the fact that there could be someone in diaspora, when you put your video on at 10 o'clock, the guy is deep asleep. Or when you stream your video at 10 a.m., the guy has just woken up, he's just brushing his teeth. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But then you have the opportunity to think about your content as, I am now a media house. I now have in fact, you guys did something interesting with Kanji.
Yes, but even before I tell you about Kanji, let's say this. You see, in the offline world, you only have 2 hours of a possible 24 times 7, 168 hours of people's time. So, and a week has 24 times 7, 160, I think it's 168, if I'm wrong, whatever. But I know that 2 hours is only 0.01% Kuria of my whole week. That's how much. That's the most. That's the most you can engage with me if I come to your service once a week. Online,
I'm always here. Always on.
The average Kenyan, and I'm talking, this is some reports that was saying the average Kenyan, I'm not talking about affluent or even middle class, is spending 3 hours and 30 something minutes a day. On the digital platform. I think it's actually more, to be honest. I mean, that was on social media minus WhatsApp. But now, so offline you have unlimited hours. So what we did with Kanji, now to come to that, over Easter, we found 3 relevant Easter pieces of content that he had. Now some of them had even been pre-shot previous years.
So he had 3 different concerts.
Yes, 3 different. So he had 2 plays and 1 concert. So we said every 3 hours we were going to live stream the content. So this means that you premiere the content, say, at 10 o'clock. Now you're using words that may confuse some people.
Okay. You live stream.
Yes. So when people hear live stream, the ordinary person thinks it is live. So for example, if they are catching this from them watching, they are thinking that we are actually in a different building, seated live streaming this. But the truth be told, live stream can be pre-recorded content. Like this is pre-recorded. We shot this maybe. Oh man,
I was hoping to guys it's live.
Yes. And now, but we have premiered it and people are seeing it as live. So we did that, let's say Friday. We started Good Friday at 9 o'clock in the morning. Next, same show, we aired it at midday. Next show, we aired it at 3 p.m. Next show, we aired it at 6 p.m.
So hang on, it's the same piece of content. It's just being replicated.
Yes,
So, being
live.
repeated live.
Think of it as TV.
Yeah,
In
yeah.
fact, a perfect.
So it's a rerun.
It's a rerun.
So you watch the news at 7, then you watch the news at 9.
Yes.
But assuming it's the same
Yes.
same video, same content.
It's the same thing. So, but it's so shocking. First and foremost, there are people who would catch the first one in between. So we didn't leave this content on because there's something that they feel when they hear it's live streamed, and that's why everybody is live streaming. But we played that same content. We did 45 different live streams. Let me even show you another creative thing that we did. On Sunday, Kanji, for the first time, did his Set Us on Fire concert. Not only did we live stream the content, but we live streamed the content on different platforms. So on Masimasika's Instagram, we live streamed it. On Kambua's, on Churchill. So we are able to also let that content get
You live streamed on mine as well, but I know I'm not a big brand. I'm just like Mother Rao. It's all right.
Yes. Oh, actually we did. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a different mentality that churches can enter.
So one of the things I think we are saying with this thing is we're saying churches need to kind of free themselves from this thing that we have a 10 o'clock service.
Yes.
And say we are now a media house. We have from Monday to Monday. And it can be in the morning, in the afternoon, you're always on, and that you can be doing content the same, even if it's the same content.
Yep.
It's like Netflix. You come and you watch the show you want when, at any time of the day, at any time of the day or the night.
Yep.
So
and now we're probably in the next video we can have the conversation on numbers.
Actually, I want us to talk about numbers because I want to ask you about how is it, what are the numbers that we should be looking at and tracking? What's important for us as a church or as any organization when we look at our digital numbers? What do we get? But for me, the big takeout from this is this. For churches to get this sense that I am a media house. I don't have to stick to the offline format. I need to think about what does it mean for us to have a brand new online format, online execution for us. Episode 3 coming up in just a bit.